All right, Miss Candy Gal. Does anybody actually call you that, or is that?
Yeah, well, actually, yes. So in high school, everybody called me that. Candy Gal or Candy Ass, because I had a big butt to be so small, so they called me Candy Ass or Candy Gal. Yes.
All right. Well, let's take a little sharp pivot from lighthearted to not so lighthearted.
Yes.
It's been a few weeks now since the altercation aired.
You want to drag me too? Okay. Do you want me to? Do you want me to? Drag me. Do you want me to? Do you want me to? Do you want me to? Hey! 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 Hey!
How are you feeling?
I think I'm just now starting to get to a place where I can be light about it. When the fight actually aired, it felt like there was a little bit of a weight that was lifted off of me, and then sort of finally feeling like people are seeing what actually happened versus believing a year of rumors and lies. There's nothing more gut-wrenching and frustrating and just awful about knowing the truth of something and having everyone believe that you did something that you did not do and not really being able to speak on it. It's like being in prison. It's like being in a prison that you can only get out of when the footage airs. And that's how I have felt for a year. And I will say this too, because everyone is saying, oh, Candiace is not a victim. I'm not a victim. I have always taken full responsibility for my mouth. I am a verbal acrobat, and I will give you the business with this vocabulary all day, every day. I've always owned that. That is my weapon. But nowhere in a civilized society should someone who is communicating verbally, should that person be physically accosted because the other party cannot measure up to my verbal acrobatics.
When the episode aired, is that the first time you saw the footage?
No, when we pressed charges, we were given the raw footage to watch. I actually did not watch it until much later because I just couldn't watch it. But I did eventually see it. It was awful. It was awful to watch. My heart was like palpitating. I was angry all over again. I was frustrated. I was sad. I was embarrassed. I was every emotion. It was every emotion.
I do feel like I felt a shift in the fandom though once the episode aired. Did you see that and feel that?
I did. And it's funny because I thought that I would be happier about it. But it's still, I don't want to cry. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change what happened. I don't have any tissue. Hold on, I have to
go grab a tissue. In watching back the footage, reliving what happened to you, did you notice anything new that you didn't know had happened in the moment?
One thing, I thought that my glass was in my right hand and it was in my left hand. The glass that did not leave my hand until after I was pulled down onto the table, by the way.
I think there's question of if you threw it or if the tussle just caused you to lose your grip on it. Do you know which happened?
I know I didn't throw it. When I was lurched forward, that's when I suppose the wine hit her in the face. I did not intentionally throw anything on her until she had me by my hair and was punching me in the back of my head. You do see me whopping the glass in the air because remember, my head is down. I don't know, I can't see where anyone is. But at that point, I'm fighting for my wig and my edges, okay? So that is what is called self-defense. I was defending myself in that moment. But to say that I threw the wine on her intentionally or that I threw a glass on her intentionally is false. That didn't happen, and you saw that didn't happen.
In Monique trying to piece together her side of this story, her memory does not line up with what is on tape.
When the glass of wine went into my face, I remember reaching And then it was all downhill from there.
That is an absolute lie.
And why the story seems to change week to week. Literally from October 17th, the day after the altercation, to this day, her story has changed countless times. It's a barrage of poppycock and childlike fairy tale stories that it's sickening at this point. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, you've been pretty consistent in saying you feel as if Monique has misrepresented everything from the jump. What do you think the biggest lie or spin she's put on it has been?
For me, the biggest lie and the most hurtful, most traumatic thing was telling the blogs that I initiated the fight by throwing a glass of wine on her, because that is what I was viciously attacked for. That's what I got death threats for. That's what I got threatened to have my ass beat for. I've never dealt with someone who could so egregiously lie like that. And I just can't wrap my mind around someone who can sleep at night and not be remorseful.
I think the part of the altercation that is still a question mark to me is after Monique is restrained in the hallway, you start shouting at her almost as if you wanted things to continue.
Where's she at? Cause you're a ghetto ass, hood ass bitch. In her head. And you know how to f***ing act.
What was happening then?
I was angry. That's what that was. I was angry. And I'm sorry that I'm allowed to be angry. She held on to me for what felt like 10 minutes. And during that moment, I'm not in fight mode. I'm in keep your wig on mode at that time. So when I finally am able to come up and realized what was happening, I was angry. So yes, F you, you bleepity bleep bleep bleep. I said those things. And yes, they didn't help the situation, but would I take it back? No, because I was angry and I'm allowed to verbally express myself. That's how adult humans communicate.
Would you take back the initial conversation that started everything?
Good night. Get your hand on my face. Get your hand on my face. You put your hand on my face. You gonna drag me? You gonna drag me too? Do you want me to?
It did feel like things were escalating kind of quickly.
Mm-hmm. Well, things escalate quickly on all housewife shows, don't they? Is that not what everyone watches Housewives for? Is the verbal spats and the verbal altercations and the back and forth, and then we kiss and make up and do it all over again? That's what you watch us for. You've seen women crack glasses on tables.
You understand that? Every never go after my
and curse and scream and throw plates down. You've seen all of that. And you've never in those moments seen anyone react the way that this person has reacted. So it's twofold. Yes, I would have walked away. I wish I would have walked away. And if I could do it again, I would have walked away. But here's the thing about me walking away. If I had walked away this time, would she have come after me again? I would venture to say yes. I'm actually glad it happened here versus us maybe getting all the way to Portugal. I'd rather we had had that spat there and not in a foreign country where it could have been much worse. I don't want to go to Portuguese jail. I have a bright future. I can't be in Portuguese jail.
We see in this week's episode, you come to this decision to press charges.
So is the goal for her to go to jail?
The goal is for the court system to do what the court system needs to do.
Why did you get to the place where you felt you needed to press charges?
This is not something that I wanted to do. It gave me incredible anxiety to have to even think about. But after seeing several weeks of misinformation and lies and accusations that are just vehemently false being skewed against me, and then to also have been receiving radio silence from her. And I said to myself, there has to be a consequence for what you did. And that was the way that I felt to best initiate that consequence.
We saw in the last episode, she said she wanted to sit down with you, hash things out, seemingly apologize.
I need to sit down and talk to her. I need to apologize to her.
Do you think your decision to press charges maybe stopped her from doing that?
I do not believe that for 1 second. I think that her sitting down with her pastor was a stunt. I think she did it because she had to. And all those tears that she was crying, I believe those tears. I believe they were real, but they were tears for her embarrassment and for her not being able to control herself. And, you know, people have been tagging me in her public apology where she says that she's remorseful and she's sorry. I have not heard from that woman since she put her hands on me. So a public apology is not an apology to me. You're apologizing to the people to try and retain their loyalty. That's not an apology.
We know she then pressed charges against you. All charges were eventually dropped. Why?
I don't know why. I have my speculations, but I don't know why they were dropped. And I'm nauseated by the fact that she felt empowered enough to press charges against me. I think it just underscores how low someone has to be to do that when they know what they did.
You have made it very clear you have no interest in being on a show with her moving forward. So what does that mean for your future with Potomac if Monique was to be asked back for the next season?
That's none of my business. I'm not an executive. I can only do what's right and what's best for me. I would never want to work with someone like her again. A friendship is completely and utterly out of the question. And she really, it's in her best interest to have a seat and continue to work on herself, because the way that she has conducted herself in this entire ordeal is less than savory, and that's putting it very kindly.
So what does a reunion look like? If it is in person, you're in the same room, you have to talk about this together.
Yeah, it's a lot of prayer and, you know, medication, the flower kind, if that's possible. It's not going to be easy for me at all. I think the only reason that I'm even okay doing it is because there is a part of me that wants to finally put it to bed. It's like, it's nice to have that hard stop. And for me, the reunion will be that hard stop on this entire ordeal. And I'll be able to close that book and burn it and move forward, really move forward. I'm really, honestly, truly ready to be done with this entire incident and her.
The aftermath of the fight, there's the snowball effect of what happened.
Monique did ask me to write a statement.
She wrote this statement as revenge towards Candiace.
You, Ashley.
What can you tell me about the journey we see you and Ashley go on this second half of the season?
There isn't a whole lot I have to say about Ashley. I don't find her to be someone that has a soul. I think she moves in a particular way that does not work for me. And I really have nothing to say about her. I wish her well, I suppose.
There is what appears to be another physical altercation or near physical altercation. And it seems to be between your husband and Ashley's husband.
Michael, you should get the out of my face.
Shut the up and listen to what I'm saying.
Yo, what? Hey,
I'll dare your ass.
Stop!
What can you tell me about that?
Alcohol and perhaps other substances and crazy people don't mix. They just don't mix well. Certain people just should not be allowed to be around the group. And that's been proven time and time and time again. And it's old. It's old. And it makes me feel sorry for Ashley, honestly. that she doesn't think that she deserves better than someone like her husband. But that's her business. It's very interesting the way that all happens, but it was crazy. It was unexpected. Never expected that to happen, and crazy. Like, this is our finale, really? It's insane.
Monique has no self-control, but what do you have? Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to?
You've pretty much crossed off two names here, Monique and Ashley. Do you want to continue with the show?
Monique and Ashley are not the only two people on the show. So, yes. And Ashley is not someone that I fear for my safety around. She's not someone who I'm so disgusted by that I can't be in the same room as her. I just have no interest in having a relationship with her. She's not my people. So that's Ashley.
Okay.
But as far as, the other person, yes, she's in the ground.
I notice you will not say Monique's name. You always refer to the cast, her. Why? Why won't you say her name?
It gives her life. It gives someone who has really tried to destroy me life. And she doesn't deserve that from me. She doesn't deserve it.
I feel like the last year has been a year of tests for you between the altercation, past tweets coming up that you had to reckon with, and then what the world is reckoning with in terms of race. What have you learned in the last year about who Candiace is and who you want Candiace to be?
Oh my God, Bryce, my God, these questions. Well, the short answer, and what I've said to all my friends when they call to ask if I'm okay, is clearly I'm strong enough to handle it because I'm still here. I've learned that words have consequences. I've learned that there is a time and a place for everything. And I've learned that I'm resilient. And through all of it, somehow, I'm still here. I'm still blessed. I can really handle anything. And I think the goal is to just learn how better to handle anything.